Welcome to ICCT College's online learning. In today's session, we begin our exploration of one of the most critical and relevant topics in technology today, computer security. This first chapter will give us an overview of what computer security entails, why it's essential, and how we can begin to approach it systematically. So whether you're studying IT, working as an IT professional, or simply an avid learner interested in protecting digital information, this overview is essential. In this lesson, our goal is to help you understand some foundational concepts that will guide your study of computer security. By the end of this video, you should be able to clearly describe the key security requirements known as the CIA triad, namely confidentiality, integrity, and availability. You'll learn about the types of threats and attacks that computer and network systems face regularly. Additionally, we'll summarize some essential functional requirements that every secure system must fulfill, explore fundamental principles that guide security design, understand concepts like attack surfaces and attack trees, and outline what a comprehensive security strategy entails. Computer security, according to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, refers to the protection afforded to automated information systems. This protection helps preserve three critical objectives: integrity, availability, and confidentiality. When we talk about protecting these objectives, we're looking at safeguarding not just data, but also hardware, software, firmware, information, and communication networks. Think of computer security as the digital equivalent of securing valuable physical assets. Only here, we're safeguarding digital information against an ever-evolving landscape of threats. Central to the understanding computer security are the three pillars known as the CIA triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality ensures that information is only accessible to individuals authorized to see it. It includes keeping sensitive data like personal information and company secrets away from unauthorized eyes, while also ensuring privacy rights. Integrity involves making sure data and systems are accurate and reliable. Data integrity means that information is protected from unauthorized alterations, while system integrity ensures that the systems function exactly as intended without unauthorized interference. Availability ensures that the system and its information are reliably accessible whenever they are needed by authorized users. Availability is vital because information or services that are not available when required can cause significant disruptions or even critical failures. While the CIA triad provides a foundational understanding, computer security often requires additional concepts to offer a more complete picture. Authenticity addresses the need to confirm that communications, documents, or data transactions are genuine and that sources can be verified and trusted. For instance, when you log into your online bank account, the bank needs to confirm that you are indeed the account holder. Accountability, another crucial concept, ensures that actions performed on a system can be traced back to the individual or system's entity responsible. This ability to trace actions is essential for responding to and recovering from security incidents. It promotes responsible behavior by making sure that users can be held accountable for their activities, which in turn deters malicious actions. This foundational knowledge sets the stage for a deeper dive into the complexities and specificities of threats and how we protect against them. Stay tuned as we continue explore further dimensions of computer security in our next session. As we explore computer security, it's important to recognize that not all security breaches are created equal. To help us evaluate the significance of different security incidents, we turn to the standard provided by the Federal Information Processing Standards Publication or FIPS 199. This standard classifies security incident according to their potential impact into three main levels: low, moderate, and high. A low-impact event might result in minor disruptions. For example, imagine a temporary outage on a public website. It's inconvenient but not catastrophic. A moderate impact event involves more serious consequences, perhaps leading to a significant disruption of services, noticeably financial losses, or compromised but recoverable data. For instance, a hacking event temporarily disabling online services could significantly inconvenience users and incur notable financial damages. Finally, a high-impact event is severe or catastrophic, possibly threatening life, severely compromising critical operations, or causing irreversible damage to vital data or resources. Imagine a cyber attack disrupting critical hospital systems. This could directly endanger human lives. Let's dive deeper into confidentiality with some practical examples, categorized according to the impact if confidentiality were compromised. High confidentiality assets include sensitive student-grade information. For students, grades represent private data protected by regulation such as Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act or FERPA. Unauthorized access to grades can significantly impact privacy and trust. A moderate confidentiality examples would be student enrollment data. Although it's still protected, this information is seen by more individuals and poses less risk if disclosed inadvertently. Its exposure would not be catastrophic, yet still serious enough to require protection. An example of low confidentiality is publicly available directory information. Lists of faculty members or department contact details, for instance. Such information is typically openly published, and poses minimal risks if accessed by unauthorized individuals. Now let's consider integrity, which ensures that data and system remain accurate, trustworthy, and unaltered by unauthorized actions. For assets requiring high integrity, consider critical healthcare records such as patients' allergy information stored within hospital system. Imagine if these records were tampered with, showing inaccurate data about medication allergies. It could result in serious harm or even be life-threatening. Accurate, reliable data is absolutely crucial in this situation. Moderate integrity assets might include online discussion forum or blogs, while unauthorized alterations such as vandalism or false posts are problematic. They generally cause limited damage or inconvenience without severe consequences. The site owner might spend time and resources correcting these issues, but overall impact remains manageable. Finally, an example of a low-integrity scenario is a casual online poll. Most people recognize these polls are informal, not scientifically rigorous, and easily manipulated. While incorrect or manipulated poll data may be misleading, it typically doesn't lead to significant consequences or damages. Now let's move on to the third component of the CIA triad, availability. Availability ensures that information systems are reliably accessible when needed by the authorized users. Like confidentiality and integrity, the importance of availability can also vary depending on the asset involved. High availability assets include critical systems like authentication services. Consider an organization whose entire staff relies on a centralized authentication system. If this system becomes unavailable, even briefly, it can halt productivity, disrupt business operations, and lead to significant financial losses. Therefore, these systems require strong protection to ensure continuous operation. An asset with moderate availability requirement might be a university's public website. While the website is important for providing information to students, parents, and prospective enrollees, its temporary unavailability would mainly cause inconvenience or embarrassment rather than catastrophic harm. Nevertheless, maintaining reasonable uptime is still important to avoid disruptions and uphold the organization's reputation. Low availability assets could include online telephone directory applications or informational resources that users occasionally access. If such services experience brief outages, users may find it inconvenient, but alternatives such as printed directories or other communications methods are usually available, reducing the overall impact of these disruptions. When addressing computer security, it's important to recognize the numerous challenges professionals face. At first glance, computer security might appear straightforward, focusing on concepts like confidentiality or authentication. However, in practice, achieving effective security is significantly more complex. Security mechanisms often require intricate solutions that involve detailed and subtle reasoning. A single overlooked vulnerability can become a gateway for attackers, highlighting the difficult task security experts face. Attackers only need to exploit one vulnerability, whereas defenders must protect against all potential weaknesses, which makes the security landscape inherently challenging. Another complication is the often counterintuitive nature of security strategies. Some security measures might initially seem unnecessarily complicated, but upon deeper analysis, these elaborate mechanisms are essential to counteract sophisticated threats that may approach the system from unexpected angles. Furthermore, effective security isn't just about technology, it requires constant monitoring, evaluation, and updates. Tasks often neglected due to short-term priorities or resource constraints. Unfortunately, security is still frequently viewed as an afterthought, integrated late in the design process rather than built into the system's core architecture from the beginning. Lastly, users and even administrators can perceive robust security measures as obstacles that hinder productivity or user-friendliness, causing resistance that complicates effective security implementation. To help us systematically approach computer security, let's consider a fundamental model. At its core, security begins with identifying what must be protected, known as asset. In computer systems, assets generally fall into four categories. 1. Hardware, such as computers, servers, storage devices, and communication equipment. Next is software. Software including operating systems, utilities, and application software. Data, encompassing documents, databases, user credentials, and sensitive personal information. And communication facilities and networks, involving both local and wide area networks, and the devices that manage their connections. Each of these assets possesses vulnerabilities or weak points that threats can exploit. Vulnerabilities can lead to three main outcomes: corruption, such as alteration or compromises of integrity; leakage or unauthorized disclosure; and availability, which is a disruption or denial of access. Recognizing these vulnerabilities is the first step towards effective protection. In the context of computer security, understanding threats and attacks is crucial. A threat refers to a potential danger that might exploit vulnerabilities in our systems or data. In contrast, an attack occurs when that threat materializes into an actual harm. Attacks can be categorized into two primary types. Active attacks involve deliberate attempts to modify, disrupt, or disable system resources. Examples include installing malware, altering data, or initiating denial of service attacks. While passive attacks occur when an attacker gains unauthorized access to information without directly altering system resources. Eavesdropping on network traffic or quietly monitoring confidential communications are classic examples. Understanding the distinction between threats and attacks help us determine the best defensive strategies, whether to actively defend against direct disruptions or safeguard information from subtle unauthorized access. Another critical aspect of understanding computer security involves recognizing where threats originate. There are two main origins. Inside attacks occur when individuals with unauthorized access misuse that access intentionally or unintentionally. These insiders could be employees, contractors, or anyone else granted legitimate permission who abuse their privileges to cause harm or access unauthorized information. Outside attacks are initiated by external entities without legitimate access, such as hacker, cybercriminal groups, or even foreign entities. These attackers exploit vulnerabilities in systems to gain unauthorized access or disrupt services. By identifying and understanding these different threat sources, organizations can better tailor their security measures to protect against both internal misuse and external intrusion. Having explored vulnerabilities, threats, and their origins, we now turn our attention to protective strategies known as countermeasures. Countermeasures are actions or systems designed to counteract or mitigate security threats. Ideally, effective countermeasures should prevent attacks from succeeding. Prevention involves securing systems so thoroughly that threats can penetrate defenses. However, because prevention can never be fully guaranteed, detection and recovery mechanisms are equally vital. Detection involves promptly recognizing when an attack has occurred. Intrusion detection system, Audit logs, and real-time monitoring tools are examples of detection countermeasures. Recovery focuses on restoring systems and data to normal operations quickly and effectively after an attack. This can include data backups, disaster recovery plans, or rapid response teams. Yet, we must acknowledge that even countermeasures can introduce new vulnerabilities or residual risks, risks that remain despite our best security efforts. Managing this residual risk requires continuous evaluation and updates, ensuring the security strategy evolves to address changing threats. Now that we've explored threats, vulnerabilities, and countermeasures, let's discuss the specific consequences threats can have on our systems. Generally, threat consequences can be grouped into four primary categories. Unauthorized disclosure occurs when sensitive or confidential information is exposed to unauthorized individuals. This can happen through exposure, either accidental or deliberate, interception of communication, inference from indirect sources, or direct intrusion into systems. Deception involves misleading users or systems, causing incorrect actions or decisions. Common deception attacks include masquerading when someone impersonates another user, falsification of information or data, and repudiation, where an attacker denies involvement in certain actions. Disruptions refer to attacks that impair or prevent normal operations. This can happen through incapacitation, where system or services become unusable, corruption, which alters systems' behavior, or obstruction such as deliberately overwhelming network to halt operations. And lastly, usurpation means unauthorized control over system components or resources. Examples include misappropriations such as stealing computing resources for unauthorized activities, and misuse where legitimate system access is abused to compromise security function. By clearly understanding these threat consequences, we can better anticipate and actively counteract potential attacks. Each type of asset, hardware, software, data, and communication network faces unique security threats. Hardware faces significant risk from physical threats like theft, vandalism, and environmental hazards. Since physical assets are often harder to safeguard through digital means, physical security measures and careful asset management become crucial. Software threats include corruption, deletion, or unauthorized modifications. Malicious software like viruses, ransomware, and worms can easily disrupt system functionality. Additionally, software piracy remains a persistent concern, causing financial losses and potential vulnerabilities. Data, the most frequent targeted asset, faces threats involving unauthorized access, exposure of confidential information, alteration, or destruction. Data breaches are among the most costly and damaging events organizations can experience, emphasizing the importance of robust data security practices. And finally, communication lines and network encounter both passive and active attacks. Passive attacks include eavesdropping and monitoring communications quietly. Active attacks, however, actively disrupt or alter communications, including denial of service attacks or interception and modification of data in transit. To understand threats thoroughly, it's crucial to differentiate between passive and active attacks clearly. Passive attacks involve attacker observing or listening to system communications without altering data. Examples include eavesdropping on email exchanges or analyzing traffic patterns between servers. Although passive attacks can be challenging to detect, preventing measures such as encryption are highly effective against them. In contrast, active attacks actively interfere with system operations or communications. For instance, an attacker might replay old messages to gain unauthorized access, masquerade as another user, modify messages in transit, or conduct denial of service attacks to disable a system entirely. While active attacks are often easier to detect because they disrupt normal operations, they are significantly harder to prevent entirely. Thus, the primary defense strategy involves strong detection and rapid response mechanisms. As we conclude this comprehensive overview, let's reflect on the critical lessons we've discussed today. Computer security is a complex but vital discipline, integrating technology, human behavior, and continual vigilance. We've learned about identifying key security objectives through the CIA triad, namely confidentiality, integrity, and availability, and expanded this with concepts like authenticity and accountability. Understanding vulnerabilities, threats, and attack types empower us to create stronger defenses. Yet, we must remain aware that achieving perfect security is an ongoing challenge. Threats evolve, attackers innovate, and vulnerabilities continue to emerge. Therefore, effective security is not a one-time task but a continuous process requiring vigilance, regular assessment, and proactive design and constant updates to defensive measures. By integrating security deeply into our system design and organizational practices, we significantly reduce the likelihood and impact of security breaches. I encourage you to continue exploring and understanding these concepts further. Remember, in today's interconnected world, computer security knowledge isn't just beneficial, it's essential. So stay tuned for future videos where we'll explore more advanced topics and practical strategies to strengthen your understanding of computer security. Thank you for watching ICCT College's online learning. Stay secure and see you next time.
For more ICCT College's video updates, please subscribe and click the notification button.